My contact lens order just arrived at the door, but I'm already ready. So let's get this show on the road, guys. Hey y'all, we're gonna start with a Q&A. So we're gonna go straight to my Instagram. I'm gonna put the question up on the screen right here, and then we're just gonna answer them together. A lot of these questions have been about the wedding, about my life, about what I've been up to. I kind of want to wrap up the wedding stuff. On October 4th, I asked y'all, how are y'all doing? What do you want to see from me content-wise? And what do you want for the rest of 2025? So we're gonna go through those. First question, because let's just knock all these questions out of the way. Like, I don't really think structuring it is going to help me as much as just getting all these questions out the way. Somebody asked me, real question, were you your own MUA or did you have one? Out the entire year, like, of the bridal events, I did my own makeup for my donas. For my bridal shower, I had me and Shamsi tag team and do my face together. That came out so good that I almost didn't get a makeup artist. But you know, big day, being a bride, you should kind of get your own makeup artist. So I did have a makeup artist, and that was Glow by Jay. I'm gonna put a little clip video picture of my face. That was like Sunday reception day was one of the best faces I ever had on my face. It was like top circle faces I ever had. She did so good. It lasted the entire day, through tears, through tissues, through everything. Shout out Glow by Jay. She was fantastic. Maybe I should write down what questions or screenshot what questions. Oh, okay, fine, we'll structure it. Let me get a pen and paper. How do weddings work in my culture? Heyyyy. In Somali culture, first thing that usually happens is something called a barsha. Don't jump me if you do things a little bit differently. This is how I do it in my family. Heyyyy. So the first thing that usually happens is a barsha. The family meets and they get to know each other. This is kind of where the conversation of the potential for courtship and wedding talks begin. After the barsha, there's the donas or sodonis. That has become a bigger party than it used to be. It used to just be man's family and the woman's family coming to, I think, the girl's house, and they bring a couple of gifts and they say, okay, courtship has begun. These two people are getting to know each other for the sake of marriage. It's become a little bit bigger than that because now it's kind of taken as a cultural engagement party. Mine was kind of like that. A lot of gifts, people have outfits and signs, and you know, our people love a party. So that is usually one of the other parties. So we have barsha, sodonis. Barsha is not really supposed to be anything really. It could be done at a coffee shop. The donis low-key could be also not at a coffee shop, I don't know. But like, you know, you don't really even need to have everybody there for a sodonis. But barsha, sodonis, and then after the sodonis, this is where Western culture and Somali culture get mixed together. Some people do a proposal after the sodonis, or some people do it after the nikah. I don't know when the proposal happens, to be honest, because I didn't really have like a big proposal, but I had a bridal shower. So what I had is there was sodonis where everybody got together and it was like a thing. And then I had a bridal shower. After the bridal shower, the next wedding event is the nikah. So the nikah is the religious signing of the paper. I had my nikah on the same day as my brambur. So a brambur is kind of a party for the women. It can be on the same day as the wedding. A lot of people have brambur like as a segment of their wedding, but I had it separate as an entire event. So brambur is kind of a dance and a reciting of poetry over drums, where they speak about your lineage. They talk about the families that are coming together. They talk about, they praise the couple, and there's like a lot of just nice things being said about the couple and their family and their heritage. That happened the same day as the nikah for me. There's another party called the shashsar, and the shashsar happens 7 days after the wedding. Because a lot of my family flew in from like across the world, we did not want people to have to come in again. And there's this fabric called shash. Now, families where it's been a practice, shash is a pattern of fabric that is technically supposed to be reserved for married women. As a young girl who loves that pattern, I was wearing it before I got married. However, if my grandma saw me wearing a red one, the shoe would be flying across the room. I would wear it before I got married, and I just wouldn't wear the red one because I'd be like, fine, I'll let you guys have that one. A satin scarf. There's patterns that go on dresses and stuff, but there's a satin scarf that is placed on your head. You are given gifts and gold, and then all the women in your life put one of their scarves that they own onto your head, and then you leave with like a collection of all of those scarves. And now the next girl that has a shashtar, you're supposed to attend and put it on her head, and you give one away, you know, and you collect them in other, like it's a nice trade of scarves. So basically the shashtar happens 7 days after your wedding. I didn't want to have people come back around. So I did my shashtar. I also didn't want to have another event. I was tired of the events. So I did my shashtar on the same day as the barambur and the nikah. So we did the nikah in the morning, and in the same venue, we did barambur and shashtar together. So getting all the cultural things done at once. After that, we took a day break. So that was all happening on a Friday. We took a day break. And then on the Sunday, we had a reception. So the reception, I had a white dress. It was just women in the beginning, and then I did an entrance with the groom, and it was a reception. So that was the order of events for me. That is kind of the process. I would say a lot of people have a similar process as me, but some people do it differently. Some people do their nikah before they do everything. Some people do their shashtar 7 days later. It's up to you and your family and how it works for you. But in my TikTok video where I'm talking about the wedding series, I said in January, I didn't even know I was getting married. That's true. That's not a lie. There was conversation about me getting married. I don't know. I was like, hey, Abba, somebody is interested in me, and I am, you know, I'm grown enough that I'm also interested in getting married. So that happened. In January, I was also thinking, if I want this to happen this year, the way that I want it to happen, with as many events as it's going to take, I need to book some things now. I need to put some deposits down. So in January, I put a deposit down for my venue. I talked about my venues, and while I was looking for my venues, I actually found the woman who was going to make my dress. While I was looking for a venue for my nikah, there was one place that I looked at. I think it was called Pinecrest or Paramount. We weren't coming to an agreed price. So he basically said, you know what? I'm not a good negotiator. How about you talk to my wife? I was like, where's your wife? Bring her in. And he was like, no, she's not here. She's working at her store. And I was like, where does she work? And he's like, she has a dress boutique. And I'm like, you know what? Let me see what her dresses are about. So walked in. Ooh, I have clips. Let's put some clips. So I walked in. Her dresses were stunning. However, I already knew what I wanted. I wanted an Alanuco dress with some tweaks. So, we went into the store. She had beautiful, beautiful dresses. And when I say the dresses were beautiful, I mean, they were so stunning. I just started trying things on, and I found the dress that I wanted for my bridal shower. I showed her my design. She gave me a quote. I loved the price. We locked it in. I also loved the bridal shower dress. At that time, I didn't think it was a bridal shower dress. I was like, okay, put it on hold. I love this dress. I went online. I checked a bunch of websites. I couldn't find anything that was even close to that dress. I left with a deposit on a wedding dress, gave her my design. I saw dresses that she already made, including the bridal shower dress, which she made. So I completely trusted her vision and what she was going to do with my dress. And it was done. I felt so type A. Felt so on top of everything. February, what happened in February? February, I moved again. I had a lot of moving dates in the last couple of years, guys. I'm sick of moving, feeling very nomadic. And by the time I was done moving, Ramadan started. I think Ramadan started at the end of February, early March. Wedding plans were in motion. March was Ramadan. I kind of pushed myself to the limits in Ramadan. You know, I was in Toronto. I went to Minnesota. I came back to Toronto. I went all over the place doing very fun and fulfilling things in Ramadan. Felt great. I exerted myself beyond what I ever should have exerted myself in my lifetime. The amount of sleep hours. It's so funny when you take something from the deen a little too literal. I would hear that Fajr adhan. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And then as-salatul khairu min an-nawm, you know? Prayer is better than sleep. I'd be up. I'm up. Tahajjud, tarawih, my fives. Alhamdulillah, I was getting it all out of the way. It didn't matter what city I was in. I pushed myself to my limits, shooting energy drinks down like I never had in my life, to the point where it was a little concerning. Everybody knew what flavor I was drinking. If you saw a can lying around, maybe 2 cans lying around somewhere, everybody knew, yeah, someone was nearby. Right after like 2 campaigns, and I was pretty consistent posting, I whooped myself and I was sick. I'm not gonna go into details, but I was sick. It was shutting down on me. It was shutting down. Oh yeah, June, my mom was like, so go pack your bags. And I said, again, we're packing our bags again. Where are we going? And I went to China and I went to Dubai to help my mom. I helped my mom and my little brother for about a month and a half. Anything they want from me, they can get out of me. So the bride packed her bags and flew across the world. Part of my ghosting was by like, right after Ramadan, I stopped posting because again, my body was shutting down on me. I could not sit in front of the camera. I didn't even have the energy, guys. Like I was barely eating. I lost so much weight. I exhausted all the time. I looked depleted. Traveled with my mom, had a great time, came back, and it was August, which was crunch time. Invitations went out very, very last minute, and I'll talk about invitations and making deposits, making sure I'm on top of everything, and then my wedding was in September. September was just a whirlwind of itself. Everything that could have hit me. I'd just like to add, on my wedding day, Mother Nature. I got sick. I lost my voice. You know, already bride nervous. Whooped. True test. Yeah, September was truly just crunch time with the details of the wedding and how everything was supposed to go. And that was that. After the wedding, I came home, moved into this place. But that was the timeline of my year and how it was going. Somebody asked, how many bridesmaids did you have? I had 4 bridesmaids, and I only had bridesmaids for the cultural part, which was my barambur and shashsar. They carried unsi walking in. Yep, green gabrsar, and they carried unsi walking in. And then the second entrance was with the shashsar. They switched to like this deep burgundy velvet gabrsar, and they had red fans. Gave like second outfit, and it was so cute. Yeah, 4 bridesmaids. Love my girls down. Held everything together. They looked beautiful. Allah Mubarak. Okay. How were pictures taken and shared in your wedding? Did you have a female photographer? So I actually hit up Gali Weddings for my photography. Iman, I love you. You were such an amazing photographer. I love when a photographer not only takes good photos, but like has a personality that makes the photo taking easy. Iman usually does weddings like video and film with her husband, but because I had so many women's only events, I wanted a female videographer, and they provided that. So we had a female videographer, and she was also amazing. They worked great as a team together. Loved everything about who I chose as a photographer, and I loved the outcome. They asked, what did you wear for your nikah? I'm having one soon, and I can't figure it out. Basically, I had worn a plain white kaftan. Plain white? No. I had worn a white kaftan with gold detailing to my sodonis. I didn't end up attending my nikah because I got my makeup done and there was a lot of makeup in my hair. You could see it once I took my hair down. So I went back to the hair salon and she fixed it. But while I was in the hair salon, the time just flew. Text messages from everybody who was at the nikah saying like, girl, it's about to start. And I'm like, well, hate to be that girl, but I'm about to be one of those girls. I'm about to find out from a hair salon. And that's a really common story with East African women. I've not the first person that I've seen that happen to. Somebody asked, would you be interested in breaking down how you planned your wedding events? And did you have a planner? So we kind of just talked about the timeline and we talked about how weddings work in Somali culture. So I'm not gonna repeat that part, but let's talk about the planner. It was a few months into my planning where I was like, I need a coordinator. You need somebody to offload some of the stress. And you need somebody to also kind of, like if you're not in the headspace to be type A, and I absolutely wasn't because I was overextending myself, you need somebody who can be that type A locked in individual for you. A bride's best friend, Nafisa, on her page. Hit her up, told her my dates, and I told her exactly what I needed. I picked the package where at 2 weeks before the wedding, she like locks in with you and helps you talk to your vendors and manage everything ahead of time. I would send her like a Pinterest inspiration and be like, okay, I want this set of flowers. Can you find a vendor that does flowers? I want this cake. Can you find a vendor that does cake? But she was in communication with all of these vendors on the day of. I didn't have to talk to anybody. She was running around and in contact with these people to make sure, is the cake delivered? Is it here? Da, da, da. Like she was coordinating. It was the day before the nikah. Woo! My dress wasn't done. I was so disgustingly sick. I didn't have henna done, didn't have the schedule planned, still needed to send the DJ like a play-by-play of everything that's going to happen. I needed to make MC notes. The day before the nikah was absolutely a disaster. So I in a Tim Hortons with my coordinator and my aunt, and we figured it all out, alhamdulillah. And my coordinator was such a sweetheart. Brought me flowers and ginger shots and things like that. Like, she was so helpful. Loved her. Nafisa, love you, girl. How was it custom making your wedding dresses? That was honestly a very easy process because I knew exactly what I wanted already. I had a green dira. I always knew I wanted to wear green because I think green and gold is just a beautiful combination. And I wanted to keep all of the wedding colors, like the classic wedding colors, going. And I knew for Shash I wanted like red and black. Knowing what colors you want, number one, because Somali culture has there's some standard colors. There's some new colors. Like, I've seen a couple people do purple, I've seen some brown, but for the traditional colors are usually red, blue, green, sometimes gold. Make those Pinterest boards, save those TikToks, even if you don't have a wedding planned, just so you never know when life is gonna come around and you have those ideas already. Like, I had home stuff saved long before I ever had my own apartment. It's just nice to know the things that you like and your preferences. Knowing my preferences and what I already liked was great. So I knew what style of skirt I wanted. I knew what kind of sleeve cut I wanted. I knew that the detail I wanted. Genuine question. Why did you take off your hijab for your wedding? Is it something cultural? Is not abnormal or out of common practice for a woman to choose not to wear her hijab on her wedding day, and to accommodate for that by removing the men.
Why would a man be there? Why would a man be there?
Get the men out of there. It's that simple. Ugh. Anyway, nikah happened. They left. Later that evening, we redecorated. Women came. Everybody was accounted for at the door by government ID, by name, by phone number, and then your phone was put in a pouch. Those were measures put on the women so that my photos wouldn't go out. Because, Habirs do have a tendency to post things. I've been to too many weddings where there's been an announcement on the microphone where the girl is like, God will hold you accountable on the day of judgment if you post. So we're watching you. Please don't post, out of respect for the bride. And then the first thing you see is Habir going, boom. And then also being somebody who has an online presence, it's better for me to put the measure on people than to just blindly hope and trust that people weren't going to do that. Okay, here's how Sunday played out. You enter, you give your phone, government ID, everything is checked. And there was no men. It was all women sitting inside of the venue at that time. This is reception day, by the way. Dancing with family and friends, taking pictures with family and friends. I changed into my white dress. My father and his father, who is now my mahram, entered. And we're in the main area. Every female guest is inside of the hall at this point, but we're in the reception area. The men who were supposed to be in attendance to the wedding, so uncles, cousins, relatives, they're all waiting in their car in the parking lot outside. They're not coming in yet. First entrance I have in the wedding is not with my husband, it's with my parents. So he walks in with his parents. I walk in with my parents. Full of photos and some dancing and stuff. And then I go to the back. My dressmaker, Huda, love you. She made me a poncho, covered the top part of my dress because the bottom of my dress was already a big skirt. It was perfect. But the top part of my dress was it was V-cut. So she created this poncho that I could wear on top, turban that I put on, and then I put my veil on top. So same deal for the men. The men's phones were also put in pouches. So entered the venue. Everybody's celebrating together, and the night ends. That was it. There was security checking who was supposed to be there, and every person was accounted for by name, government ID, phone number, and their phones were put in pouches. So girl world was created where I didn't have to wear my hijab. And it was so freeing. I loved it, and I wouldn't change anything about that. Being strict about these things only gets you what you want. Anyway, that is the end of this video. I think in the future, I'm probably gonna have to do a lot more writing before I do any type of recording for YouTube, because this is gonna be a tough one to edit. It was a lot of rambles. Let's hope it comes concise by the time that this is all done. This is my first one though, we will get better as we go. The bumps will smooth themselves out as the content keeps coming. You know, this will be my first time editing. This will be my first time actually having a full video to record. And I hope to do this a lot more often. The next video that I have planned is one that I've had in my drafts for a year now. Really excited to share that one. I'm really excited to just start on YouTube because I'm such a yapper. So thank you guys for my first video. If I missed anything, let's talk in the comments. If you have more questions for me, I would love to talk in the comments. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this is kind of a longer video because I was aiming for like 45 minutes. I don't know how to end this. Bye.